Warning, the following podcast is brought to you by dads who are still figuring out how to fold a fitted sheet. Welcome to the All Pro Dad Podcast.
Hey, welcome to the All Pro Dad Podcast. My name is Ted Lowe, and I'm joined today by Mr. Bobby Lewis,
Hey,
BJ Foster, 9 kids, a lot of questions. That's what describes us. You've said you've both seen this, but I want to share it with our listeners. There, if you haven't seen it, there was a video that went viral on TikTok of a guy at SeaWorld with his wife, and she's got the baby. It's like a toddler, so it's not a small baby, and a diaper bag that's just packed, and he's just kind of walking behind her kind of numbly. And this mime, of all things, everybody loves a mime, especially when it pops out of nowhere
at SeaWorld
in front of a whole audience. So the mime pops out of nowhere, takes the bag off the mom's shoulder, puts it onto the dad's shoulder, and does this shrug like, what an idiot. And then the whole crowd just starts clapping. And it was like, oh. And then let me say, in their defense, it was so big that they actually had a statement. And the dad was like, hey, I was out of it. My feet were hurting. When the mime came up, it threw me off guard. And then the mom said, hey, this wasn't, a picture of the full day. He had been working really hard. He was just taking a little bit of a break. But I got to be honest, when I saw this, I got a little bit judgmental because my dad taught my brother and I, he was all about helping ladies when they needed help, to the point where I do it so much, I annoy Nancy sometimes. She's like, I got it. You don't have to take it from me. I'm capable. But I saw that a little bit. But when this video went viral, it brought up this bigger issue of a thing called passenger parenting, that a lot of guys are just kind of going along for the ride. And so when you guys saw that video, what'd you think?
Number one, I've seen the Mime video. I've seen that Mime video before. And you brought it to our and so I feel like you and I are on the same, we've got the same algorithm.
It should scare both of us.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I don't know how this Mime just started popping up on my feed, but it did. And so I've seen him before, and I think he was just making a joke and doing his job.
Right.
And it wasn't, I think it wasn't that big a deal in the moment. But I go to the comments section and people are just brutal on this dad. And, one person's like, it's just a shame that some men need to learn this way. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like we're seeing 10-second video and all of a sudden we're making judgments about what kind of dad this guy is, like you did.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
And so, but yeah, some people were saying that and some people were saying stuff that was worse. But I did get down to, at one point, somebody said, my husband is exactly like this, even though I prompt him to help me. Yeah, there are plenty of guys out there that are just kind of along for the ride that aren't stepping up. This guy, not in particular. I think he was just taking a moment, and apparently he'd been carrying the daughter all day, and like this was the one. So I kind of felt bad for him. Like this is the one time it's like she's carrying, and he's just sort of like, I'm going to take a break.
This is my dad moment that goes viral.
Right, it goes viral.
They're just showing it at my funeral. Right.
Exactly.
My first reaction was, darn you, Ted. Now I'm going to get Mime videos all the time. Like, I don't want Mime videos. But my actual reaction to the video was the cheering. Like the crowd was so happy that the dad was taking the load from the mom. And I think that speaks a lot to like what's expected of men in our community, what's expected of dads in our culture. I was encouraged by that. I thought that was kind of cool.
So we're talking about passenger parenting, and it's defined as a parent who's physically there, but mentally or emotionally checked out, leaving most of the caregiving and decision-making to the other parent. That's why our big question of the week is, are you a passenger parent?
Well, good question. And so here's a couple possible examples if you're at home wondering if this applies to you. But look, if mom is handling the car seat while you stand and talk to other people, like she's trying to gather all the bags and everything, and you're just kind of standing there, kind of hanging out and not helping. If mom handles the homework and you kind of check out and zone out from that. Leaving during a toddler meltdown. So we kind of put it on moms to soothe, those kind of meltdowns. if you have a parent teacher conference and you don't participate at all, you just kind of leave it all to mom to ask all the questions and talk to the teacher while you just sort of sit there. And then knowing nothing about the kid's schedule. If you're constantly asking mom, okay, what's the next thing? Or what are we doing? That one in particular is convicting to me.
Feeling a little judged over here, but all right.
Ooh. Yeah. Oh, the truth hurts sometimes, right? I can fully say I don't ever feel like, hey, I'm just helping Nancy out in terms of, these are her kids and I'm going to babysit occasionally. I don't have that. But when I see these lists, I just think, wow, because Nancy, when her kids were little, was a stay-at-home mom. And so she's known every detail of their lives for years. She's also way smarter than me, and she's also way more organized. And so she knows, and by the time I think about it, she's 10 steps ahead of me. So when I see this, I'm like, oh, I'm like an Uber driver that has really fun car games. I mean, and that's got to count for something, right?
I can affirm.
She doesn't have car games.
I can affirm all of that.
Okay.
Everything that you said.
Yeah.
The car games and her being smarter and more organized.
Okay.
All of that.
Oh, I thought you could affirm that you do the same thing, but
No,
you're going
but
to affirm that I'm a loser.
I'm affirming all of that.
Bobby, he always bullies you. Could you bully him right now for me?
I think he's right on this one, so I don't think I can help you yet. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. Yeah.
But I am, but I will say, I am in the same situation. My wife, Elizabeth, she was a nanny before we were married for a number of years. And so she had all this, I had babysat some kids in my 20s. But, I still didn't know what I was doing. And so I depended upon her and her knowledge of everything. And honestly, even since then, she's just always seems more in tune with what's going on. And so there's a part of me, I'm like, okay, are you just naturally intuitive, or are you more observant and more engaged and more thoughtful than I am? And it's probably, yes, it's probably the second. One of the things that has helped is she is a flight attendant. So when she goes away, when she goes to work, she's gone for a couple of days, and then it's just me and the kids. But I mean, she's is just way more in tune than I am.
True.
Well, if you're feeling very judged like me right now, after hearing all these things, I think it is important to kind of dive down into what causes passenger parenting. So research has shown, there's a short list here for us. One is lack of confidence. Dad's just not confident in their role. 2, fear of criticism. You don't want to get yelled at for doing the wrong thing. 3, cultural conditioning. 4, overwhelm and distraction. And then number 5, you just don't have a shared game plan with your wife. And I think all of that can lead to us drifting into becoming a passenger parent, or worse, just feeling more comfortable there.
So how do you know if you're a passenger parent? So I think here's a couple questions that you can ask yourself. Try not to judge yourself too harshly, but this is a good time for conviction. But here's a couple questions. Do I usually wait for my wife to tell me what needs to be done with the kids?
Yes.
We'll just go directly at Bobby.
Okay, good.
When my family needs help, am I often distracted by my phone, TV, or something else?
I'm not going to answer every one of these. Don't look at me. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Or do I tell my kids to ask mom instead of answering or deciding myself? So those are 3 questions.
Okay, I'll answer that. Yes, I do that. Yeah. And it's weird. I don't feel like a passenger parent in that moment. I'm guilty. I do that. I've absolutely said, go ask mom this week multiple times, so tough.
Here's some more questions.
Oh, good.
I feel like we need a break. We need a sponsor.
Look at BJ this time instead of me. That'd be great.
Okay. This episode is
Ask
brought
him.
to you by Weighted Blankets. You are all going to need one. Another one. Am I mostly involved in the fun parts of parenting? I should have given this slide to someone else. Am I mostly involved in the fun parts of parenting while skipping daily care or responsibilities? Yes, but
Car dad.
But we get good times are being had. Can I name my kids' middle names? No. Can I name my kids' teachers, schedules, or current needs without asking my spouse? Moving on, Bobby.
Yeah, moving on. Here's the tricky thing for me is I have been set up in the perfect position to know everything about my kids' school because we homeschool. They're literally in the same room and I still don't know. And it makes me feel so guilty because as we were talking about this, I'm like, man, it's not that I don't care. my wife is so capable, and she does the lion's share of the homeschool stuff, that like I've just almost checked out and been like, you're so good at this. Like, I'm not going to interfere. Like, are you able to do this math problem? Mom knows. Like, can you do it? Great. Or do you know how to read that? Mom she took care of it. Great. And it does make me feel very convicted. In fact, our kids have joined a homeschool co-op. And so we were riding in the car the other day, and I was asking my daughter, like, what about your classes do you like? Do you like the guitar lessons? Do you like the this? Do you like the that? And she goes, yeah, I like those things. And I kind of stopped, and she goes, you can ask me about my other 2 classes? I'm like, oh, crap.
You have 2 other classes?
I didn't know. And I was like, I felt bad, but it's not that I didn't care or wasn't being intentional. I think a lot of guys kind of fall into my bucket. It's like, Mom's taking care of it, man. Like, I don't feel like I need to do a lot of lifting here. You got it, right?
Oh, and you've got it so much better than if I had it. I think that's hard. Okay, we got to get into action steps of.
I hate this episode so much. I hate this one.
Oh, I know. Well, we were talking about earlier, like this is one of those that it's so important because we've never thought about it, and it impacts our wives so much.
And I don't think I don't want anyone listening to feel like we're heaping shame on you, because as you can tell, like we do this stuff too.
We're heaping it on ourselves.
Yeah, and I think that you can easily slip into this and not realize it. Think you're hitting home runs every day, and maybe your wife's over there like, hey, are you even in the game? You know what I mean? And I don't want that to be the case for any dad, because the bottom line is like your kids need you to be in the game. Your wife does too, but your kids need you to be in the game. And so we're preaching to ourselves just as much as whoever's listening or watching this.
Yeah. We're like 3 mimes with our own shame. Here's a couple of action steps so we can move on from this is step in without being asked. Take initiative. Don't say, hey, do you want me to do this? You just step in and you just do it.
And I think it sounded like you did that. Like you did that with the schooling. It's her deal, but you ask about it. I mean, I think that's.
Well, I asked because I was convicted over prepping for this episode. Like I wasn't asking because I was genuinely like, oh, how's school? Yes. And that's a problem. Like I recognize that's a problem, but
right,
I still think we're moving in the right direction.
Let me white out my
please. Yeah. No, but I do think my kid benefited. She doesn't know what my motivation was behind it, but she still got the conversation with that. And I think that's a really good step in the right direction. So yeah, this first action step is very doable for you.
I mean, hopefully this is what happens on these is as dads, we listen and we make adjustments. Otherwise, why are we doing it?
Yeah.
Oh,
right?
I thoroughly think that me having this job is a divine appointment so that I will actually not harm 2 children.
Yeah. Be a better dad.
That they need. Yeah. I'm giving them what they need.
With just older kids, it's just created a full sense of regret in many, many ways. So I'm glad I could do that to my life. Anyway, but no, it's important. Anyway, action step number 2 is take full responsibility for some things. Like you go, okay, I'm going to fully own this activity. I'm going to fully own bath time where they're not thinking about it. They don't have to put it on their radar because I know it's my wife. If she thinks any of it is on her radar, it's all on her radar. So just fully owning something.
I'll never forget. I was talking to my wife one day and she was just kind of like, I just feel like a failure. I'm like, why? She's like, because the kids haven't been to the dentist. They haven't done this. They haven't done that. And I was like, okay, do you want me to take that off your plate?
Yeah.
Like, and she was like, that would be great if you could just do that from now on. And so I took it from her. And so I say that to say, if you're listening to this episode, don't wait until your wife feels like a failure and she's in tears. Maybe even just today, ask her, hey, do you have anything on your plate that you want taken off?
But even the phrase took it from her implied she was supposed to carry it to start with. And I think we all do that, right? It's like, oh, that was mom. Sorry, I didn't mean to barb you in the face. But like I do the same thing. It's like, oh, school stuff. Oh, that's mom's domain. Or doctor's went, that's mom's domain. Or take to the dentist. Oh, of course, that's mom. Like there's like this idea that like mom is supposed to default handle some of these things. And that's just not true. And if you think that, like I have fallen into that too, like check yourself, Dad. Like you can't just assume that all of this has to be heaped onto her shoulders, even if she's good at it, which my wife is good at these things. It's just not fair. And we can't default setting, yeah, mom's got it. It's just not good for anybody.
Absolutely not.
And can build resentment probably. I mean, whether it's just or not, like resentment between you and your wife, that's bad.
You know, Nancy was stay-at-home mom until our youngest entered kindergarten. And so that really shifted things because she was home with them all day. It wasn't like, hey, this is your job. But things did shift where it was like, you're going to have to really up your game here, buddy. And so I look at us now, and Nancy and I talked about this, and I feel like it's okay if dads are listening, even if some of these roles are stereotypical in terms of what you do and what your wife does, it's okay to divide and conquer, right? It's okay to say, hey, you own this and you own this. Again, stereotypical stuff, but like Nancy's like, if she never has to touch the lawn, she's okay. I mean, she runs to the mailbox. She wants to get immediately back inside. And so that's kind of a thing. She's like, oh, thanks for taking care of that. So we have these roles where they are divided, but I think we have to look, once we've divided it, is she holding more than I'm holding? Corey, one of our producers, had a great line. He goes, it can be different, but it's got to be equal. So I thought about it that way. Yes, we divide and conquer, but I think we're different and equal-ish. She does own more of the details.
I'd put myself in the same category. So my wife is a flight attendant and works and also homeschools our kids. And so when she's homeschooling and she's in town and she's doing all that, it makes sense that she would know a lot more about their schedules and what's going on and all that stuff. Yeah. But my wife doesn't want to go anywhere near the finances. She doesn't want to manage anything like that. And again, she doesn't want to manage doctor's appointments, even though I thought, okay, I assumed that she should take that. Yeah. Wrongfully assumed that. But yeah, can we divide up equally? And I think that's the thing. When she goes out of town, I'm still working, but I still kind of are up on the kids' schooling. That's one of the things that we talked about. And hey, when I'm out of town, you need to take over the schooling stuff and make sure that they're completing their assignments and doing all their stuff. And it's Saturdays and Sundays and doing all the work, making sure that it's equal. But I think for a lot of guys out there could be a lot of guys out there that might be like my dad. I've talked about, and my dad was very involved in our lives, but he also only changed one diaper in his entire life. He said, ask your mother more than any other dad ever. Ask your mother. And he would also say, do what your mom says. It was whatever your mom says. And my mom would say all the time, gosh, men are so wonderful today. They're all involved and it's completely, I'm like, well, not all in all cases, you have that dad in the comments section, and no judgment, but if you're listening and all of these yeses apply to you and you feel like, gosh, I'm not engaged enough. It's time to step up and ask your wife, okay, can we talk about our duties and what you need help with and what you need help, taking, what I need to take more of, where I need to be engaged more.
Well, and if you grew up watching dad do that, you bring it, you talked about cultural, norms that we've seen, and it leaks down, and maybe it's leaked down more than we think.
So here's your opportunity to label me a passenger parent or not, because I genuinely don't know. And I'd like to know, because if I am a passenger parent, I want to course correct, because I realize that may be hurting my family in some way. So we're going on vacation tomorrow. There's a suitcase next to our bed, and I've put nothing in it. Nothing. My wife has put kid stuff in it. She's put her clothes in it. I've put nothing in it. Now I'm going to go home tonight and put my own clothes in it, but I did nothing else. And it's not because I don't care about the trip. I've been thinking about podcasts, thinking about work stuff, and I'll do my little part, but it's still a tiny part, right? She did the rest of it. Never once did I think, I got to make sure that our 6-year-old has enough underwear for the next week, right? Never once. And then I've taken my kids to the emergency room before when they've gotten hurt. I can't think of a time I've taken them to a well visit or just, they have a cold. My wife did it. And like you said, your wife is not interested in the finances in your home. So I take that off her plate and it stresses her out. So I handle all of that sort of stuff. And it's not that I'm stressed out by taking them to the doctors. I've just never done it. Is this making me, am I a passenger parent here? I really would like to know.
I don't know. I'm torn because I see divide and conquer, and I say, you're working full time. That's dividing that. And she's home. And so I don't know. I'm feeling torn right now as you're talking about this.
Sure. And the goal is not to make people feel bad necessarily. Like the goal for me is to be the best for my family, for my household.
Right.
So it's not a cookie cutter thing. Like, all right, Dad, split it 50-50, exactly right down the middle. Like, I don't think we're saying that. What I do think we're saying is find an opportunity to engage more and get in there. That's what I hope we're going to do. I'm challenging myself on this because I don't like the idea of being the passenger parent where the mime comes up behind me and says, why aren't you wearing the backpack? I don't want to be that guy.
Well, I guess the only person that knows the answer to that is Jocelyn, right? If
Yeah.
You know, say,
I'm afraid to ask her.
Let's call her right now.
Let's not call her right this second. She's busy. I'm not calling her.
Well, I think one of the ways that we can kind of start to do this is we can learn the details. I think we're probably, if we're asking the honest question, are we passenger parents? There's probably some areas that we are and some areas we're not. Some areas where we're really doing well. I think engaging your wife and asking the question is a great place to start. It's like, hey, are you taking too much of the load here? But I think one of the best places that we can start is to learn the details. I can't tell you how many times. I don't know if you've ever seen the Lego movie. Great movie, but he's like, hey, what are we doing? What's happening? And the woman character starts to explain, we need to do this. And all of a sudden he's not hearing what she says. He's all he can hear is, I'm so pretty. And like there's nothing else. And he goes, okay, I think I got it. But just in case I wasn't listening to anything, please explain it again. And that's kind of every time I was okay, Thursday we're doing this, and then Friday we're doing this, and then the kids are going here on Saturday. And I'm always like, I never kind of get it. And that's where I think we need to engage and learn the details, know what's going on at the doctor.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned engage, and that's just the word of the day. Like, be engaged. Like, make sure that you are trying to inject yourself into all the stuff going on in your home. Put away your distractions, put off all. This is a hard thing to do, and we've talked about this before. When you get home from work, leave it there and go inside and be dad mode. Like, put away your distractions. It's better for your family. That's a challenge to myself, it's a challenge to everybody, because everyone, like you said, is probably a little bit of a passenger parent, at least some of the time.
That's good. And I think we've already said this, but I think another action step could be to plan together, to talk about that. Jocelyn, do you want me to pack? Because I think Nancy Lowe would go, no. I don't.
My wife wouldn't either.
You're awful at Tetris.
In fact, she was gone one time, and I said, I thought about, we were going to go on a trip soon, and I was like, I thought about packing the kids' suitcases while you were gone, thinking she'd be like, oh, and she goes, don't ever do that. Don't. And she was like, I need to know what's in there. I need to know. And I'm like, all right, well, that's easy.
Well, it's planning together. It's discussions, you know? Yeah, again, let's pull way back and say, this is an important topic maybe we've not thought about, and we need to think about, like, when it comes to our kids, are we just going along for the ride? Are we a passenger? Are we full engaged parent? And the only person that could really answer that question is our spouse and us, right? So we got to have those conversations. That's why our pro move of the week this week is to schedule a conversation with your wife and talk about this. Do you see me as a passenger parent or not? In which ways? Where can I help you? This could be a great discussion. And as she's given you the answers, you just say, thanks for letting me know, because it could really spark a whole lot of debate. Just, hey, thanks for letting me know. So take that and buckle in and be ready to what she says, right? Could be great. Could be great. You guys, thanks for hanging out with me. This is good. Walk away with a little mime shame, right? This is good. Hey, if you guys could do us a favor, if you could just take 1 minute to rate and review the podcast, that helps other dads to find us. And we would really, really appreciate that. But most of all, we want to say thank you. Thank you for listening. We know that your wife and your kids will be glad that you did.
Thanks again for listening to the All Pro Dad podcast. Behind every episode is our amazing team. Producer Haley Mawat, audio and video editor Buck Buchanan, and production coordinator Corey Walliff. All Pro Dad is the fatherhood program of the nonprofit Family First. Along with our motherhood program, iMom, we exist to help you love your family well. So remember, if you have more questions than answers, then you're probably in the right place. See you next time.